was a rumble in the jungle once. I heard Dad was outside again counting birds, and Mama plugged in a nightlight, and I saw the queen of the world. Mama plugged in the nightlight, and I
Welcome
saw
to the Golden Hour Brook
queen of the
podcast.
world.
I am your co-host, Liz. I'm your other co-host, Natalie. And tonight we have Georgia on. I feel like we're just kind of like lining these people up down this family. It's Hannah's sister-in-law's sister. So I'm super happy to have you on tonight.
Hi, my name's Georgia.
Welcome. So if you want to go ahead and start us off a little about your family, and we can go from there.
Okay, so my husband, VJ, and I met in college, and we met at Southeast Missouri State University. Seems to do well. We met in 2014, started dating after graduation. We got engaged right after Alyssa's wedding. So after
18.
Yeah, 18. And then we got married 2019, right before the world shut down. So we got married right at the best time. And we knew we wanted to. We just didn't know when. And we did say we were going to travel for a while after getting married and having all of our fun. But when the world shut down, like, I don't know what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Let's have a kid. So I decided to get on birth control in September 2020. Got off birth control and I was like, let's see what happens. I didn't get my period. Okay, this is weird. Like, I should be getting this.
Yeah.
So then I went to the doctor and she was like, oh, well, it could like just take a few months, like just wait it out and see. And she's like, you don't get it by this certain time, then we'll like figure out what to do.
Were you on, did you have like an IUD or like
I was
something
on-
that you didn't
I was on the
have?
pill.
But like you skipped?
Yeah, I just like,
Period.
no, I didn't. So I did have my last period of, when you take the sugar pills. So I had like my last period that was like from the birth control.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then wasn't getting it.
Oh, wow.
So I went back to the doctor or messaged her in November. I'm like, okay, I'm not getting it. Like, I would like to do something about it. And because I was like, we kind of want to start like starting this process a little sooner. And she put me on progesterone. So I was supposed to take like 10 days of progesterone and then stop it after 10 days and then apparently you get your period. So I started the progesterone and then I get COVID. So I'm like trying to remember to take the progesterone while I'm having COVID. And we had COVID over our first anniversary too. And lo and behold, that's when we conceived. And I think the progesterone might have had like a play in it. Could have helped. But I was also taking Mucinex, which could for the COVID.
Yeah.
Because Mucinex thickens.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's epi. Don't quote me. It does something with their mucus.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes when people are trying to, like, that was one of the things Alyssa had done.
I
Whenever
never like thought about that mucus.
Right. It does with like all your mucus. And apparently I was ovulating without a period.
Huh.
Which is crazy because while I was on this progesterone, I also ordered from Amazon because I'm like, we're going to start the process. We're going to track everything. We're going to like try it. So I ordered like the ovulation predictor kit.
Yeah.
OPKs or whatever they're called. Ordered those and like the pregnancy test strips from Amazon. And I get the test strips and stuff from Amazon. I get it in the mail and I decided to take one of the pregnancy test strips and then it was negative, so I threw it away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, okay, so this is how you do it. Then threw it away because I had never taken a pregnancy test ever.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of funny, but I go to Alyssa's that night to help her set up her first birthday party. help her set up and everything. And then I come back home to like go to bed, pull it out of the trash, but I just wanted to look at it again. And it's like the faintest one. Like it was a really big squinter. I was like trying to tell BJ, I'm like, I think I might be pregnant. Like, I don't know. And then, he was like he thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
And then the next morning we go to the gym and then he goes into Walgreens and gets the, FRER one, first response early result, that one. Because I was like, people in the Facebook group say to get that one, so get it. And I take it and then the lines come up immediately. I'm like,
Oh my
no,
gosh.
see? Like, and then I Facebook messaged my OB and I'm like, is this real? Like, am I pregnant? And she was like, congrats. And then I was like, but how? When? What? Like, and then I put all the dots together. Oh, okay. So this happened. Like, and I ovulated? Didn't know. And then when we actually got to go to the doctor and figure out our due date, then I realized what our conception date was. I'm like, oh, our anniversary. Like, that makes sense. Yeah. It's just
He's
crazy.
gonna put you two and two together.
Yeah.
He's so different.
Yeah, we all have.
All of my siblings are 9 months from something.
Yes.
Me is my parents' anniversary too.
That's so cute.
Also, I just want to say you Facebook messaged your OB.
Yes. Oh my God, she's amazing. She is the one who delivered Emmett, Reed, Lemon, my niece, and I think it's a delivered PM, but I'll get to that story. So then we had Emmett's birthday party to go to with this secret, and I could not keep the secret. So we weren't going to tell anybody, but then I couldn't not with like everybody around. And we had like the picture of the test on my phone and BJ was showing Emmett. It was like, look what we got you for your birthday. And my mom goes, what is that? Oh my God. And then she realizes and she thought we were joking at first. I'm like, no, it's real. Like, why would we joke about that? And then, so she knew, and then she tells Alyssa and she's all super excited, but we still have like John's whole family coming over in like 5 minutes for this birthday party. So she kind of had to like pipe it down. But then my mom wasn't supposed to tell anybody. Tells John's grandma, I think it's pretty, Willa. And Willa comes in hugging me, like almost crying. It's like, I'm so excited. I thought she was excited for Emma's birthday. Like, Emma's birthday. And then by the end of, I think the day, like, everybody in my family knew. Besides just my immediate family.
Yeah.
But it was funny because after everybody left, like, then John knew. Because, like, Alyssa didn't get to the went, like, the whole party without, like, telling him. Which was just funny. And John's my brother.
Yeah. Didn't Hannah, like, come to Alyssa's reveal with, like, the news of Benji or something? I feel like she said that.
Did she?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of secrets.
Hannah took her test and found out she was pregnant the day of when Reed's gender was being revealed.
That's it.
Because then I remember her telling me how she like faked drinking the beers, like she filled it with water or something.
Yeah,
which is like faking drinking when you feel like it's difficult in the moment.
No,
otherwise.
I had it at somebody's wedding.
Sarah's.
One of the cousins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody knew. Nobody. Went right over my head.
Yep.
Yeah. It was fun being sober too, watching everybody else get drunk. Me. And then I remember being like, come on, we have to go out. Come on. And they're like, no. And we're like, absolutely not. That's so weird. They're usually the yes ones.
And then like not being hungover the next day is like,
it's glorious.
Unless you're feeling sick.
Yeah. I just love that you Facebook messaged your OB. I think that's awesome.
She is like my raking gal. She's been through so much with me that like she can never quit until I'm done.
Yeah. Never retire. Yeah. Seriously. And
It was cool being pregnant because Alyssa was pregnant with Reed when I found out. And my sister-in-law was pregnant with Lemon. We were all pregnant at the same time, like having babies all in 2021, which was nice. And Lemon came first and then Reed and then Cam. So I kind of got to see, like, what am I getting with?
yeah.
Even though, like, we did with Emmett, like, he was the first grandkid or baby in the family. So he was spoiled too. But early on, in my pregnancy, I had like nausea and like all the normal like things, but the nausea got to where like I couldn't function or wanted to lay in bed. Like it felt like endless hangover that like doesn't go away. So like I did get on Bonjesta, which definitely helped, but I was able to get off of it after 13th, I think, which was nice. And then I didn't have to remember to take it. But I didn't have any other complication. And I was able to, like, so my husband and I were like gym rat. And I was able to keep working out up until like 3 days before I had Cam. And oh my God, my husband has videos of me like doing squat. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me to stop? I literally look like a freaking like large like elephant. I'm like over in the like corner of the gym, like doing squats. And I'm like, no wonder so many people were like staring at me.
You go, girl. I have not done anything.
My next one, I can't even count on 2 hands at the gym this year. But I'm very thankful my body was like, let me do that. And because I think it helps my energy stay up. But
Squats are helpful during labor too.
I worked out a ton and I tried to like be in the best shape because I was like, I want like a good pelvic floor for when I'm like pushing all this stuff. Come to find out, this freaking kid is Breech.
Oh,
I cried. I sobbed. Because Alyssa going through her C-section and all of that because of Emmett being Breech and other complications kind of terrified me. So I was like, yeah, her seeing her go through that, I don't want to go through that. And then after talking about Dr. Sloan, she like walked me off the ledge. She was like, you know, girls in California, like, they opt for this because they want to save their genes. Like, it'll be perfect. I'm like, what?
I'm just a California girl.
Right? And I did try to, like, flip it. I did spinning babies. I did acupuncture twice. With the chiropractor, all this stuff. The one thing I didn't want to do was the, you know, when they push them, like, spin them manually, you have to like go to the hospital for the procedure. I forget what it's called.
EVC something, yeah.
Yeah.
ECV.
Mm-hmm. One of those. And I was like terrified to do that because I was like, okay, what if he's in this position for a reason and we spin him in like the core grafts or something? And then it's like, because I was afraid and because that's what I wanted. So I came to terms with the C-section. Like, okay, like, I'll get through it. And my doctor really reassured me. She was like, you're in such great shape. You're taking care of yourself. Like, you're going to bounce back quicker than what you think. And then that really helped. But I was still like, she probably just tells everybody this. And we scheduled the C-section because he was due August 3rd or 4th, I should. And she scheduled it for 39 weeks. So that would have been, his birthday was supposed to be 7/27. July 27th. Tuesday is great. We're going to have the weekend to clean the house, everything. Friday morning before that Tuesday, We go to the gym like normal. Like every morning we wake up, go to the gym. I get my stupid squat. You know, actually, I think I gave up on squats because I have to do a C-section. Like, fuck this. This was nothing. And I told BJ, I was like, I'm going to drive separate. Because I didn't feel good. I get to the gym 10 minutes in. I'm like, nope, I'm going back home. And I was having like Braxton Hicks, but I think it was actually preterm labor. Because I think I was in labor or like the start of it. And laid in bed literally all day. And then BJ's, my husband, aunt was in town from Arizona. So Saturday we went and had dinner with her. And I don't know how I got through that because I was like in bed like the whole weekend. And I go to bed every night. Sunday morning I wake up with like the worst pain. And I'm like, I think this is it. And then I go to the bathroom and I like come back. BJ like had noticed I was up and he was like, you okay? I'm like, no, I think I'm having contractions. So then he starts timing. And within like a 10-minute span, his phone, he's like, it's telling me we have to go to my hospital bag wasn't finished. Like, when you're having a contraction, it like hurts so bad. So that you're like in this pain, so much pain. And then once it's done, you're like, oh, I'm good. Yeah, I'm fine. Like, so in the contractions, I'm happy. And he calls my mom. It's like 4:30 in the morning. And so she rushed over to the house while I'm still trying to like finish packing stuff, putting stuff in the bag like I didn't even use. And she's like, you don't need that. You don't need this. All this stuff. And I'm like, shut up. It's on the list. Like first time mom problem. Yeah. And I get it packed and everything. We get out the door, our poor house. And I have a friend that's coming to watch the dog. So I text her like, oh, Cam's coming. Like, sorry, our house is a disaster. And BJ was like racing to the hospital. Literally like a scene out of a movie. Like, I wasn't like, he wasn't about to fall. Like, I could have driven like fine. Like, my mom pulled and like slowed down. So, finally get to the hospital. And we went to Mercy. And then Mercy, you like have to go like the triage first. Mm-hmm. And of course, like, he was still breech, but they had to like check you to like make sure. So she like wanted to see like how dilated I was because my water hadn't broken, but I was still like having really bad contraction. And I think I was like 3 centimeters or something, like it wasn't real far at all. And she then is like having me fill out paperwork and stuff while they're trying to get things moving. It's like the worst because I gave every paper to VJ to sign. So I'm like, no, I can't do this. And then they moved me from like the triage room to, I was still in triage, but they moved me from different areas. And they were trying to get me up to the OR to get things just like started. Because I was going to still have the C-section because they still did they give you like a last minute ultrasound, whatever their grades, to confirm that they don't have a C-section if you don't need one. And throughout all of this, I'm like cussing. I don't like, usually like I have a pretty high pain tolerance in labors. No. It's not like throw your pain tolerance out the window because I was in so much pain. And I remember they were trying to get like my IVs in, but they couldn't because I was so tense. And I remember looking at my mom being like, I mean, you tell me I have good pains. Like, why can't they get this in? And she's like, honey, like to focus on this. And I'm in like the pre-op room somehow. I don't even remember getting from triage to whatnot, but they somehow wheeled me. It's like a blackout mess. Away. And then I remember telling my mom, my head hurt. And she's like, oh, what was her blood pressure? And they didn't take my vital when I first came. They like forgot. They missed a step. And at one point there was like 10 people in the room, like all rushing around, but they weren't like moving fast enough. So my mom like she works at emergency, takes the blood pressure cuff and like putting it on me. And then they found out that I forget what the numbers were, but they were like at a point where I could have had a stroke. Because like I had preeclampsia at the like last minute. Like I really had no issues leading up until I went into labor. And they then, after getting the readings and realizing like that 10 people turned into like 20. And then the next moment I was like getting wheeled to go have camp. And I'm like, look, like I can't take this all in. Like it's all happening too fast. And then they had to get my earrings out and they're like, I remember they dropped one and that was a mess. And I was like, not understanding why they cared so much about my jewelry, just like getting me safe and him out of me. But the moment we wheeled into like the operating room, it was wild because I didn't have like the spinal tap or the epidural yet, but like I felt nothing. It was weird. It's like, I just felt like at ease. And whenever they were giving me the spinal tap, I remember they were like, okay, like hug around your belly. And like I was trying, but I kept like, they had to do it like a few times because they couldn't get it right. And I remember just like, it's so weird. I'm not for contractions right now, even though it wasn't fully in yet. And then once it was in, it was kind of weird because they have to like poke you to make sure that you don't feel anything. And then I remember I like felt the first one. I've heard horror stories and sometimes it doesn't work for people or it only works on half your body, then you feel stuff. And like, I was terrified of that happening. But luckily it didn't. And then I just kind of felt like some tugs and then he was out and I'm like, yeah. And then happy tears. And I do regret like not advocating for like, oh, I want to warm my chest. I want all of this. Like now I know going into like, if I ever have a C-section again, like what I want, and I'm going to like really advocate for it because I kind of feel like I was robbed of that. Like he was just whipped away. Like I'm literally laying here on a table with my arm down. He's over there with my husband. And one like cute memory I do have is right before they like weighed him, BJ was like, oh, I want to guess. And he was like, I think he'll be 6 pounds, 8 ounces. And they put him on the like, scale thingy and he was 6 pounds, 8 ounces. And it was like, that's real cute. Like you guessed it. And then like holding him for the first time was so cute. It was just, I was in awe that I was like, shit, you were just sitting me like to go with you're right here. And you said it's real. Yeah. Like saying happy birthday to him.
Oh.
And then my mom meeting him. Cause you're in the OR and then like once they like sew you up, you're like on your post-op room that you sit in for like an hour before you get to your, mother baby. I want to say labor mother baby. And I remember coming off of the spinal tap, you like
my belly, not
coming off the spinal tap. I was like so shaky. And I didn't like that feeling because then I was like kind of like afraid of looking. But after labor, they kind of had to like figure out my blood pressure issues and like what was going on and what medicine did I need, where did I need to be. And if you've ever had preeclampsia or any issues with your blood pressure, some people have to be on the magnesium drip. Worst 24 hours ever of my life. Like I felt drunk. I felt dizzy. And whenever you have a C-section, they have to put these like, cuffs on your legs that like squeeze it. Yeah. It's like, it's kind of like a blood pressure cuff, but like on your legs.
Yeah.
And they inflate like every so on minutes or something. And you have to have them on hours. So that was making me hot and very flushed. And the medicine made me like feel super hot. But then I felt like not the fun type of drunk, like the drunk where like can't see. Like I remember closing one eye like half the time. And then they're like, oh, here's this baby, hold your baby. And I'm like, what am I doing? Oh. It was a mess. And like looking at the pictures of, because my husband took a picture of me on the table with in the middle of the C-section when my arms are like clamped down and I'm like sitting there smiling. And then like 4 hours later on the magnesium drip, I looked like two different people.
Oh.
Like on the magnesium drip, I literally like was so puffy, and which I think is normal after labor anyways. But I'm like, I literally look so different. But I remember my one nurse, when I finally was able to get off the magnesium drip, she was one of the ones that she added me on Facebook. Like I still, like, we keep up with each other because she was like my saving grace. Like, we're getting you off this. We're going to like see what the next steps are. And I feel like she was one of the nurses that advocate for what you want. Except, okay, I don't like being on this. And I believe you have to be on it for 24 hours, but she really helped get me off because some people do have to stay on it longer, which like, no, it was get me off. And I did have to be on like blood pressure meds for a few weeks afterwards because my mom had to teach my husband how to take my blood pressure. I still have the log in my phone. Like I had to take it like 3 times a day. And then it was like not where we wanted to be with certain medications. So I had to like switch medications and it was a mess. So I'm hoping like the next pregnancy that I don't have the blood pressure issues again, but I think that's like something that's going to scar me. That like if I pregnancy again, it was a while.
Yeah. Did you ever have a high reading before you delivered, like at a doctor's appointment?
So I think that like my third 8 appointment, I think I did. And they took it again. And then it wasn't as high. But I do remember, and I think in one of my like 6-week checkup after delivery that I like asked about. I don't remember if it's like a postpartum.
Yeah.
I don't really remember the answers. But the work trimester just takes it out. Like, I remember Brain came home from the hospital, and the day we brought him home, all my siblings came over, everybody came to meet him, and it was great. And then the first night, he almost would sleep like 2 hours at a time. And obviously that's like normal for a newborn, but my husband and I just like the lack of sleep mixed with like all of your hormones everywhere is not a good mix. And he ended up becoming like a really colicky baby. So he would just cry a lot and then I would cry with him. And it was not the funnest of time, but I also really struggled with postpartum depression and anxiety. So I kept having to like have check-ins with my doctor, and Alyssa, my sister, and my mom were like my saving grace because they would check in on me every day. My mom did stay with us a few nights. Alyssa would come over and stay and like take Cam for the night, and he just wasn't a good sleeper. And then he did have silent reflux. So he would like grunt, but it like wouldn't spit up. So he was like burning. And I didn't know until Alyssa came over when I was like, oh, I think this is what's happening. What do you know? It's like, am I supposed to know this? Like, feeling like a failure. And luckily she was great because then I was just able to like kind of relay all of that to the pediatrician, and we got him on tested. That really helped. We did have to switch his formula a few times because he ended up having like a milk protein allergy. Of course, he had to be on the most expensive formula. And I was like, God damn it. Like, why? If I just want to breastfed, maybe I could have like saved all of this. But looking back, I did opt to like not breastfeed because deal with my sister's journey. I was just kind of like, I think I'll sit this one out. And Cam did have a tongue tie and a lip tie. So I was like, we did end up getting those lasered, but I was like, okay, if I would have breastfed, I would have had more issues, and I probably would have blamed myself for all of these issues that he had. Otherwise,
blood pressure meds do not help.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Lauren was like our second guest on, and she went through all of that. Like the blood pressure meds.
Yeah, her story literally was like, was one of the ones I'm like, yep.
Yeah, they do not help.
Mm.
Yeah, and we'll blame ourselves either way. Like, you're like, oh, I felt guilty for formula. Maybe if I would have breastfed, but like, either way, it's like, we're always like, oh, if I would have done this or whatever, but everything's hard.
Like, oh my gosh, yes. And I remember whenever we went to the pediatrician to get his, the consultation for his ties, I was like, had so much fear of like, what if I make the wrong decision? And then we did go through with like, after weighing like the pros and cons and getting direction from, say, the expert. Afterwards, I was like, oh my God, like, I made the wrong decision. Like, he's in pain. Like, I have to do these stretches with him now. And look, I think it didn't like me touching his mouth versus, like, I don't think the stretches caused him any pain. But this little child got RSV when he was 6 weeks old. So we were in the thick of postpartum, or in the 4th trimester, having this colicky baby, not sleeping, gets RSV. He ended up being in the hospital, and he had to be on oxygen for like, we were in the hospital in the middle of the night on Friday. He didn't go home till Monday morning.
Oh my God.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And it was also COVID times, so like you couldn't have anybody come up to like relieve you. Like my mom couldn't come up, or Alyssa couldn't come up to like kind of let us sleep or do something. But him being on the oxygen, I didn't do the stretches with him. So then he ended up having to actually get it done twice. I know. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Catch a break.
Yes, and any parent that has to be in the hospital with their like 6th, like any baby, I feel for them. So like, I didn't leave those 4 walls of the hospital room like the whole entire time he was there. The nurses, like the bead floor was like so like bombarded and busy that we couldn't like leave to go get something from the cafeteria or something together at the same, like eating at the same time. Cause like they didn't have like the time to like sit and watch it or whatnot. And like leave a baby alone. And then, oh my God, the sleep, like we didn't get any sleep because you have like the nurses and the doctors and stuff in all at different times. And they would let companies like, if they have to do anything. And yeah, it's like now, like if we're in the hospital now, I think I would kind of be like, okay, no, not right now. Like kind of have more say. When you're like a fresh 6-week new mom, you feel like you don't have, I don't really advocate, but like, you don't feel like you have the power to say, yeah, like, tell them no, or you work this way.
Yep.
But yeah, they're kind of going through that experience. And yet, one time we had to go to there was one time where I turned to my husband and was like, oh, go ask him if we could feed him. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, he's my kid. I'm going to feed him. So like, I kind of felt like the power there. I'm saying, okay. Yeah. And yeah, see, and he got your good, but yeah, that's why it didn't. There's so barking in the pediatrician. But how do you know? even the thick of postpartum. Like, one point I was so depressed, and in the thick of it all that, like, I was, like, suicidal. And I was having just, like, suicidal and everything. And luckily, like, my mom and my sister were there, and they could tell something was wrong. They just, like, wanted me to express it to my friend. They just told them these thoughts I was having. And my mom wanted me to go back to the hospital, but I was like, no, I do not want to go back there. Like, luckily I didn't have to, but she did, like, talk to my OB, because my mom also has her number. Talk to her, and, like, helped, like, kind of give me, like, a better plan, get my medication right, all for mental health. Yeah. Like, I can't believe, like, this thought and all of this. Like, now looking back, I can think back when I was in the thick of it, I thought my life was over. And it's scary knowing that, like, it's so easy to get to this place.
Yeah.
But, like, definitely having your village and support is, like,
When do you feel like the weight, like, was starting to, like, lift up? Like, how old do you think it was? Or
definitely, after RC at about 6 weeks. I think the turning point was, like, when he turned 2 months. And then I kind of felt like I had a better hold of, like, routine. Definitely by the time I was done with maternity leave, I was done with maternity 12 weeks. And so he felt, it was, like, almost, and it definitely was a lot. When I was back to work, I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like, I want a sense of my identity back. I want adult interaction. Because with maternity leave, my husband was still working full time from home. So he was working from home while I'm upstairs. Yeah, I'm doing everything. And then it was very easy to feel resentment. Whereas him, like, oh, he can't short leave. Like, he is working, like, it is his job. And his company didn't have any paternity leave, so he had to use his vacation. But since I was basically in the hospital week, he really only had, like, a week off after, which, like, any new parent, your life just totally changed. You fully agree. But luckily, he was able to work from home and help here and there, because if he didn't, like, I feel like I probably would have been even deeper into depression and anxiety and all of that, like, being completely wrong.
Yeah.
I remember Alyssa showed up at my door with a bucket of, like, sunshine, and it was, like, all these yellow things to give me, and I'm like, I'm gonna cry.
She's the cutest.
Right? And it was, like, a card. I remember, I really don't know what I'm without.
Got a good sister. We all have good sisters.
Yeah.
She's so sweet.
She's so thoughtful, and I remember it had, like, a smiley face balloon on it. Like, it said, like, Mama George. Oh. And it was just really helpful. But I'm glad I was able to get out of, like, such the dark. It was just like, what? Most of your, like, leave is, like, sitting on your couch, you know?
Yeah.
Watching Netflix.
Yeah.
With your baby in your arms. And I remember being like, I wish it would freaking rain. I was like, I wish the weather would just match my feelings. It'd be rain. And I'm like, it kind of felt like the moment when I walked into, like, the OR, and it was, like, peaceful. It was like, maybe God is real. Like, it was, like, wishing for it to rain, and, like, then it did. And it was, like, such, like, kind of a nice feeling. Yeah. But it's also weird. I don't think I've ever.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, you delivered in July and you're like feeling gloomy, but the sun's out.
Yeah. I will say one thing that helped with delivering in July and having him when the weather was still like how it is now, dead of winter, is when he would get fussy is like bring him outside. That was like one of the like things that would help him calm down. And like anytime we would just go outside and like a switch would flip.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we took like our first walk after having a C-section. It was like 4 days after we went from the hospital. And we took our dogs on a walk. He had like in the carrier. And I remember Alyssa being like, oh my God, look at you. Like you're going on a walk. Like, I couldn't do this for like weeks. And I'm like, okay, like maybe I got this. Like, it's hard to like keep telling yourself you're doing a good job, like when you're in the thick of it, especially when you're a new mom, because like you've never done this before. You know what you're doing. You're relying on Facebook groups to help you get through being in the trenches. And honestly, without Alyssa, my mom, all my other mom friends that I have, like even Hannah, Alyssa's friend Lindsay, I like wouldn't know or like have direction of like other things. Like even this app called Wonder Week, like Alyssa turned me on to. I'm like, I feel like I know my shit now because I can read this and know what's going through. It's funny. Just like when he would be me and my husband call it going through it. When he's having like an episode or a tantrum. But I remember when I first learned about that app and knowing when he was in a leak, trying to convince my husband of it. And then one night, he had woken up in the middle of the night after he had been sleeping good for a while. And then I'm like, oh, it's because of his sleep. Like he's learning this, and this. He's going through this. And my husband thinks I'm like, oh. And then I let him read it. And he was like, oh, I think I could do this. Like, you see what I'm saying? But sorry.
I love it. I think Alyssa turned Hannah on to the Wonder Wakes. And then I was like, Hannah, is this happening for you? Because, Ben and Wes are, 2 weeks apart. I'm like, is this happening for you? And she's like, you need to buy the Wonder Weeks. And I'm like, I'm just going to keep asking you.
It is super helpful. Like, I will say in the beginning, I was super too into the app, I think. Like, oh, this date, this is going to happen. The cloud's coming. The storm cloud's coming. Like, he's going to be super fussy. And then once I stopped, like, looking at it too much and putting so much emphasis on it, like, it didn't exactly line up. And, like, maybe his storm cloud weeks weren't, like, super bad. But I think that it would have put emphasis on it and thought that probably been worse. But the sunshine week. Have you seen the part of it?
No, I never ended up getting it.
Oh, I'll have to show you it.
I thought I had a fever too. I had it for a little bit too. That's a big reason why I didn't do it.
So it hasn't like mapped out in weeks.
Yeah.
And
a calendar.
Yes, it's like a calendar, and like it'll have like a storm cloud over the one that like is probably the hardest. So they could be a little bit more easier to cry, harder to sleep because they're going through so much transition.
Yeah.
But then they'll have like over the week that'll be like the best. They'll be so happy. They have like a something take you over it. It's funny because we're almost to the end where no more week. Like, no, we're not gonna do.
Yeah, every time it'll be his own person.
Yeah. Wait, Cameron is everyone lately has been calling him the happiest kid. And I'm like, I think this comes from my husband, like his part of his DNA, because my husband's mom would always say that VJ was the happiest baby. So I'm like, okay, this is you. Like,
yeah.
He looked like you.
Oh my God.
his genes run deep. Looks like you, is very loud like you. And like you, it's just like I love how happy. Today when I picked him up from daycare, he was diving onto the floor. But like he dives over a dog's bed with like you would belly flop into it. He was doing that. It's like, where do you learn this? Like, he's on the stage where he's climbing on everything. Like, I haven't ever had to pick up a child and put them down from surfaces as much. It's so fun.
It is fun. It's wild and fun. Yeah. Sam taught Wes to like run into his mattress today, like a football player. I'm like, this is exactly what he needs to be doing. He already like rides our dog and
Yes.
oh my God, climbs everything. There's no fear.
We have two 95-pound golden retrievers, and they fight, like they play fight, like wrestle. And Cam will try to get in between them. Like, me, you were going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Like there was a few times he's gotten knocked over, and I'm like, you can't play with him like that. But those two dogs, they take so much from him. Like he will try to grab their tongue. He does feed them food, so
Yeah.
a good trade.
It
But
is a trade.
like, he knows he's supposed to feed. Because they are technically told us they were like, no more people food. And every time I catch him, he'll like pull it away.
Oh, like he knows.
Yes.
Yep.
He's sneaky. He knows more than we actively.
Yeah. I agree. I feel like I need to bring up that. Didn't BJ tell you he was a boy in a really cute way or something?
Oh, yes, our gender reveal. Yeah. So, I am not the type of person who I don't like all the attention on me, especially like a whole reveal with like in front of people. So, I saw that Russell Dickerson did this reveal to his wife this way. So, I let VJ get the result and read them, and then he went to the store to buy like all the boy clothes and for the boy, and then decorated the nursery, and then revealed it to me.
Oh,
and we videotaped it all, like Russell Dickerson. Like I literally just stole that idea from him. But I love it because we said with when we go to have our next baby that I will get to do that for him.
cute.
But the other day we were talking, and I was like, I'll get to have Cam with me. If Cam will do this with me, like, that would be so cool. Like, you didn't get that. So, like, I get to do that. I think after Cam will even be at the age where he understands.
Yeah.
Maybe he, but it'll be fun.
It's so sweet.
That is one of my favorite videos that I've seen.
Yeah. I think, like, the first time we, like, talked, you showed me that, and I was like, oh my God, that's so cute. I think I cried. I have to see this now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I had told BJ to, like, vlog silent. So he's, like, talking to himself in the car. And I'm like, you talk for so long, I had to, like, speed that part. So it's kind of like, he talks kind of fast anyways, that I had to speed it up for the video. And I was like, you were supposed to, like, vlog yourself in the store, like, picking it out, too, and you didn't. But, decorating the room was cute. And that in the video, too.
So sweet.
And then, like, we made cupcakes for, and this isn't in the video, but we made cupcakes with, like, blue icing in it for my mom and for my sister. For them. So, and then we can just call my brother. But they got out that way for the video. For the world.
Cute.
And we really thought we were going to have a girl. Like, we were calling it our girl's name's Rue and all this kind of stuff. Even though I had no inkling, no signs really pointing to it. I just had this weird intuition that,
Yeah.
but now I'm like, I love being a boy mom. I'm like, Give me all the boys.
2021 was the year of the boys.
Yes.
Everyone I know had a boy.
A lot of my college friends just had babies. Like there was 4 boys, 1 girl.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. I know. There were so many boys. Like you, Alyssa, Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
Still can't believe that I had a girl and now that you're having a girl. I cannot believe it. Yeah. So what kind of, if you don't mind talking about like what kind of treatment you had for your, postpartum depression?
So I got on, so I used to be on Lexapro, and I got on that in 2020. Great. Loved it. But then when I was pregnant, I got off of it just because I was like, don't know. Don't really want it. I just don't, like, I can exist without it and manage on my own. So I did work with my OB and let her know that, like, I do want to go back on it after I deliver. But she suggested getting back on it at 37 weeks because she was like, I want it to build up in your system. I don't want to hand you a baby and hand you it at the same time. So I got back on it at 37 weeks. But after having chemo and kind of going through it, I was like, I don't think it's working the same anymore. And my OB was really like my shoulder to lean on, like the amount of times I cried in the doctor's office with her and explaining everything to her. Like I had more postpartum checkups than you're supposed to just because of me going through it. But she put me on Christy, which took a little bit in my system to build up. So I think after a few weeks of being on that is kind of when the turning point started going, and it was kind of like all these different things aligned with kind of chemo doing better, then Pepsin, not as colicky, doing better, and then the medicine working the way I needed it to. They did want me to go to therapy, but being a first time mom, I was so in putting myself last. Okay, that will get done. It will get done one day. Not right.
Yeah, like when do I have time?
Exactly.
Which, looking back, you're like, that.
Oh, I totally
would have been.
Oh, it totally would have been so doable. Like, I know that, like, I could have probably literally done a video chat therapy with keeping my arms or, like, even being on leave. But when you're in the thick of it, you don't think that way.
Yeah.
And I still continue to put myself low. And I think that that's why I don't work out as much as I can. Or I don't have the motivation anymore, which, like, sucks because I really want to get that spark back and being obsessed with the gym again. It'll happen.
Let me know when you get there. Give it to me.
Years. I did start therapy, but I just, like, put it on pause. I didn't like the girl.
Yeah, I relate. I've gone through like 3 there. I'm like,
and I don't want to like break up with them. Like, how do you like? I told her I was like, I want to put this on pause. I told her it's because I wanted to find somebody else, and I keep putting myself last. And it's weird. Like I need to.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and coming here. Yeah. Can't wait to do it again for a number 2.
Yeah.
Whenever that ends.
In the future.
Are you public on social media?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, if people would like to find you, how can they find you?
It's just Georgia Bomarito.
Okay. We'll link that in the show notes. And then don't forget to follow me and Natalie on Instagram and give us a rating and review.
Yeah. And we'll see you next episode.
Thank you.